Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey there, welcome to the show. It's Tuesday, and that means my sister Susan is joining us. And I'm so glad that she did, because Susan, that was a test.
Yeah.
That was a test last night. I have for like the last month on Monday nights texted Susan that tomorrow is Tuesday, because, you know, you forget what day it is when you're out there in sunny Southern California. So I thought of doing it last night, and then I thought, nah, let me see if she remembers. So instead, at midnight, my time, I get a text from her, "Where's my fucking alert?" Susan.
It struck me as funny.
Well, I want you to know you're laughing like an old woman who has smoked 10 packs of cigarettes a day for 6 years.
I know. The wind has been blowing here for 2 days. There is more crud in the air, and I'm just walking around going, my eyes are,
Really?
Yeah.
So
Really.
At least is the sun out?
So sorry, I'm sure I do sound like 100,000 years old. Today the sun is out. Yesterday the sun was not out, but the clouds were so beautiful. And the light coming through the clouds, and with the mountains, there's something, I don't know what it does to change the way the sky looks and the clouds behave and the wind acts, but it's all, you can just sit there for hours watching them.
Well, when there's like those little particles of sand in the atmosphere, in the sky, I'm sure it does alter the way the light.
Well, the way the light shows, certainly,
Yeah.
but also, what's also in the air, guys, is smoke.
From
A lot of it is the wind driving the smoke from the wildfires in LA and San Diego here.
Wait a minute, I'm not even aware there's wildfires right now?
The fires haven't even stopped. So if you look up in the paper, how come I can't see that great big mountain that is right in front of me today? They'll tell you it might be smoke from the fires in San Diego County or around Los Angeles.
That's interesting, because I think I'm up on news, and I wasn't aware those were still happening. They
just don't even report it all the time anymore.
God. Oh, God. So,
And Australia's was bigger, apparently, so it knocked California's off the...
Well, California,
Yeah.
Australia is unbelievable. Bigger than anything.
Yeah, Australia burned down, right.
Pretty much. Oh, okay, well, today is the New Hampshire primary, and why don't I care?
You know why? Because I really do think that like 100% of us at this point are just saying, we don't care, just get us to November and we'll vote for whoever the person is. Any one of them are better than him. We just don't care.
But
get us out of this process.
The problem is getting from that. We can't do that, and in that long span till November, the constant reporting on it, the dog race, the horse race stuff, I think we're not going to have the kind of intensity necessary, but that's just me. It's already feels like...
No, I think once we get to the part where we're allowed to start the race for president, our intensity will ramp way up.
God, I hope so, but that depends on who's the nominee.
Then it's our job to remember that whoever it is, we're intense, because now we got to set about the business of saving our country.
Okay, what if, I'm throwing out two things, what if it's one of the two current front runners? What if it's Sanders, who a lot of people say they will not just can't vote for. And a lot of those independents, there was a Gallup poll out yesterday that shows that huge majority, I think it was really big, majority of independents say they would never vote for a socialist. And then there's Buttigieg, who I don't think black Americans are going to vote for. So are we seriously thinking we're going to win?
Which is why my ideal ticket, folks, is Bloomberg Klobuchar. It has been for a while. It has nothing to do with who I want or what I want. I think that's an extremely electable duo, and I think Bloomberg and Klobuchar is the way to go.
Well, I was thinking today, I don't know how Bloomberg got there for you, because those are two, I mean, you're not giving progressive Democrats anything there. You know? You gotta, all those Bernie bros will sit out, all those, I don't know. Our party is so big tent that it's, one side can't see the other side. I just, I'm really worried, and I mean.
Yeah, I am too. But listen. We can't just sit here wringing our hands.
I know.
We just got to do what we got to do.
All right.
And my impatience is simply to get to the part where we can start the race.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will
never
tell
have
you,
liked preparation work of any kind for anything.
Yeah.
And this primary stuff just drives me bonkers.
Well, it's media, like they're, all day today. Why would you watch CNN or any of them when they're just trying to predict what you'll find out later tonight? There is no news. People are voting. I heard one guy say, well, I talked to a number of people here, and I bumped into a lot of Sanders voters and no Buttigieg voters. And I'm thinking, who cares where you're standing and who you bumped into? It's of no interest to me whatsoever.
And I care because I think reporting like that slams votes.
Well, yeah.
And I really think there should be at least a 24-hour silence about the election when it's happening. I really do.
Yeah, well, you might, but lots of luck.
People like to vote for the winner. People like to, I don't know.
I know. Well, I just want to say we have a caller, but I just want to say if I were voting today, and I thought this on the way down, if I had a vote to cast today, I would vote for Amy Klobuchar.
Yeah, that's who I would vote for.
I'm just trying to win.
She's my gal.
Yeah.
She's my gal. More and more and more and more and more.
Yeah,
all I can think of is if the worst thing they can say about that broad is that she's mean to her employees. And then I translate that into what they would say if she were a he. And if she were a he, what they would be saying is he's a tough guy to work for. You've got to really produce, and you've got to do it well.
Right. Exactly.
If you're a woman, you're a mean boss. If you're a man, you're exacting.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree. Anyway, I don't, unless she comes in a surprising third today, none of that can happen. Anyway, we got to go to the call.
I know.
Yep. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, this is Kurt from Swissvale.
Kurt, hi. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay.
Hey, I'm calling for a couple things. One, well, I agree with you. I like Klobuchar too, and I really haven't. I'm kind of with Susan in that I haven't paid a whole lot of attention because I just wait till Pennsylvania primary and it's narrowed down to a couple people, and then I'll worry about it. But I've liked her from the start, primarily because of the way she disarmed Kavanaugh during those hearings. I said she's got the personality to attack that right-wing BS and do it where people have compassion for her. I just thought that was great.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and with great professionalism and tough, and yeah, I agree with you. I forgot all about that. She was wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, but I really wanted to see how close I was to Susan last week because I was when I emailed and said I was in Palm Springs, I was actually in Rancho Mirage staying at the Omni.
Oh, Suze, how close was he?
Oh. Well, he's close. I'm right off of. Watch this, guys,
What?
and I'm very serious. I'm right off of Bob Hope between Dinah Shore and Ginger Rogers.
Well, I was on Bob Hope, but it was right by that river, the River Shopping Center.
Oh yeah. So you were in. That's the Rancho Mirage. That's right next to Palm Desert. You were about 3 miles down the road to the south of me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the roads, the roads in Rancho Mirage are which is essentially Palm Springs, are named after. It is too funny. Yeah, you take a left on Dinah Shore. It's Dinah Shore, Bob Hope, one that a lot of people
Frank
wouldn't.
Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra. One
Frank
that,
Sinatra.
Ginger Rogers.
Fred Waring. There's
Fred Waring.
Buddy, somebody or other. There's all sorts of them. But you had to live there.
Yeah, in order to get a street, you had to be a resident. So there you have it. So yeah, close but no
You
cigar.
should have called me. We could have had lunch. I mean.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it till my last day.
Next
yeah,
time.
That would've been fun. Hey,
Next time.
and just to say to Lynn, I went to that ACLU presentation last night.
About
it was a real
cash
eye-opener on,
cash bail.
on bail.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, they said 82% of the people in the Allegheny County Jail are
Not convicted.
awaiting,
That's
not
right.
convicted. They're awaiting trial, and they just can't afford bail to get out.
That's right. I have I drive by that jail every day on my way down here, and it just boils my blood every day. I think of all the people that are stuck in there because they're poor.
Yeah.
That's it. They don't have the bail. If they had any money, they would be awaiting trial, unless, of course, it's murder or something. They would be out and awaiting trial in the comfort of their homes and with the support of their families.
And working and paying taxes.
And they've been convicted of nothing. So exactly. And
and many of them won't ever be. The charges will be
Right.
dismissed.
Right. They are presumed innocent doing their time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it has to stop. It's awful. It is. Jeez. I remember when you first read Dickens and you found out what? They had prisons for people just because they couldn't pay their bills? They were put in prisons? Debtors' prisons?
Yeah, and the only other country in the world that has this system is the Philippines. Nobody else even does it. Because, I don't know, I just sort of accepted, well, bail is
What we do.
the way things work, and that's the way it needs to be, and you have to have something to make sure people get there. But in a couple of states, I guess, where they've eliminated this, people show up. They show up 90% of the time anyway,
Yeah.
whether you charge them bail or not.
Right.
And all we're doing is making bail bondsmen rich.
Yeah, and and obviously there's a racial disparity here that's huge.
Yes.
But also, poor white folks, they're in there too. So yeah, I'm glad. Well, good for you for taking the time to go see that and educate yourself.
Yeah, I think I'm going to check out these bail bucket people. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
Well, tell us.
They're a non-profit, and they take donations, and what they do then is pay the bail for people who can't afford it, and when they show up, they get that money back, which doesn't happen if you pay a bail bondsman. You pay the bail bondsman 10%, and they cover you, but you're basically buying an insurance policy, and that is not refundable. But if you have the money for bail, you get it back if you show up. And so they're taking donations and raising a fund, and they pay the bail for people, and then they just keep recycling that to allow people to be with their families while they await trial.
And that's happening locally here. See, I'm unaware of it happening locally here. It is. So you should, if you find the site or anything, can you send that to me?
Yeah, it's Bail Bucket. I'll send it to you. But
Okay.
I think they do BUKIT. So
Okay.
It's an odd spelling, but
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Kurt.
All righty. Have
Appreciate
a lovely day.
You too. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, did you see, that awful group, CPAC, the conservative PAC that has their big conference and, every Republican has to show up and show their fealty.
Right.
They have warned, the head of it has warned
That they couldn't protect him.
Mitt Romney to stay away. First of all, he told him he was not invited. He would not be credentialed. But should he show up, they could not get, I think, is it, let me see.
Guarantee his safety.
I want to get it. I want to get it exactly right. I would actually be afraid for his physical safety. That's what he said.
Let's just go back to using the word deplorable.
Jesus. Yeah. They're unbelievable thugs. And potentially, yes. Well, I mean, you start with Trump at his rallies.
We can just admit that the whole administration and the Republican senators are deplorable.
Yeah.
With no spines, with no sense of country, with no sense of honor, with no sense of integrity. I can't imagine what it must feel like to walk around. I mean, they used to know that Trump was the emperor with no clothes. Now they're all walking around naked, pretending like they're still dressed, and we're just looking at this bunch of old, misshapen, ugly people exposed for who they are. And damn, I want to get to the point where we can do something about this.
I hear you.
It's like I'm a racehorse in the gate trying to break through and
right.
start this thing already.
I know. It's a tough wait. Jonathan writes, last week I made my first donation to any candidate in this year's field, and it was Amy Klobuchar. Some of my decision was process of elimination, going candidate by candidate, and why I don't think they're electable in the states we need to win. You got to remember, guys, electoral college, not who's going to get the most votes. Hillary got more votes. Gore got more votes. That's not how it works. If we got to win, we got to be smart. He says he likes her because she's smart and tough. I heard Maddow say once that she's really quick-witted and funny, so I hope to see more of that. And apparently, I didn't see this last debate. Apparently, she just was incredible in it and won it. So let's hope. I don't know. I know I once noted, it was a while back, that I said I really liked her. And I got emails from some of you saying, what? What? Well, I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, I like her too.
But, the longer this
There's
lasts,
nothing,
I'll end up not
nothing
liking
wrong with smart and being smart and competent.
Yeah.
They're two qualities that do well in a president.
Well, yeah, but then we had that in Barack Obama, and look where the American people decided to go after that. Beyond.
Well, we need to look at this dark. I mean, the dark underbelly of our tummy that's been shining brightly, and for the last 4 months, and admit that there's a lot of people here with morals and ethics of which I heartily disapprove. I don't know what we're going to do about it. That's our country. They get to live here too.
I know, but the thing is, it's not Trump per se. It's the people, it's these millions upon millions of people who support him. And apparently don't care that he is obviously a would-be dictator. He has no appreciation for anything that the founding fathers intended. Which means that
Well, he doesn't know it. He's not
but if he
even
did, he
aware of
wouldn't.
it.
I know. I mean, because all he cares about is himself.
He wouldn't care,
No,
right?
he doesn't care. But that there's
But
all
he's
those
also
Americans.
just ignorant.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, he's brilliant at knowing how to manipulate misinformed people. He sure as hell knows how to manipulate people.
Well,
And
this is how he's had to live his whole life, I've decided, because he couldn't read for comprehension, because he's clearly not a stupid guy. I mean,
No,
but all of his energy has
something's
to
wrong.
go into covering for his own inadequacy. So he couldn't read it. He'd make the shit up, and then he'd say it with great certainty. You know, what you've accused me of for
Right.
years and years and years and years, except
Right.
that I do it for the cause of entertainment and good, and he does it, for whatever.
For his self-aggrandizement.
But I mean, he's had a whole life of perfecting this as his way of survival.
Well, and the
it's
show Apprentice helped him learn how to use media to do it. So he really is running this like a reality show. It's what he knows. He was good at that. He knows how to do it. We've got callers lining up, so let's get to the phones. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, I didn't know if I was first or what. But anyway, I wanted to say, did you happen to read the story about the drones? The officer was in the Air Force for 6 years, a drone operator.
No.
And
No.
did you see that?
No.
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 Okay.
No.
Where he watched his drone, and this happened many times, went into where a child was, blew the arm off the kid. The kid's suffering there, and he tells his superior, and they said, you didn't see nothing. That was a dog. And he said this went on and on. He's out of the Air Force now. But that's America, and that's what we do. And then we wonder why everybody's pissed off overseas. This is the kind of stuff that just is so disturbing when you hear this. It was on an article. I wish I could remember who wrote it, but
Well, that's what I was going to
terrible.
ask you. Where'd you get that? Because I haven't seen that. But
Yes, it's a pretty credible one, I think it was, because I usually, if I see it's something stupid, I don't even, you know what I mean?
well,
But
okay.
Hey.
one other
Okay.
thing.
Well,
In what universe do people in Trump's land think that Trump's doing good for them when he gives a tax cut to the rich and then later on says, well, time to cut domestic spending and we're going to raise the military more? What universe do they live in? They're going to get hit by this too. I don't know what part of the, middle class or wherever they're at on the food chain, they're going to feel it too. Stupidity is all it is. You vote along your own interest. I mean, I just don't understand it, but
Well, join the
what are
crowd.
you going to do?
Join
Yep.
the crowd.
Okay, have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And
all right. Well, this apparently is old news because the study comes from 2012. Drone strikes kill, maim, and traumatize too many civilians.
okay. Well, thank you. So that's during Obama.
Civilian impacts of U.S. drone strike
All right.
practices.
Well, just saying that's during the Obama presidency. Okay. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay. Thank you, Susan. Good work. We have another caller. Caller, go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning. I want to give a shout out for Amy. I thought she disarmed Kavanaugh pretty good, and that's where I first saw that I would give a plug for her. But anyway, she's going to be on The View this morning, so you can tell all the listeners that she can go head-to-head with Megyn.
Ugh.
But Joy will be in her corner, that's for sure.
When does
That's
the View?
all I have.
Okay.
Have a
Well,
good
thank
day.
you. Thank you. You too. I don't even know when the View airs here. I don't know. I never watch it.
I used to watch it all the time. I don't think I've watched it in years. So is Megan, what's her name, on The View now? I guess. Oh no, Megan Kane is. I mean, Meghan McCain.
Yeah,
That's
Meghan
better.
McCain is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
let me just read. Can I read something that? Here's a blast from the past. James Carville, as you
Yeah.
know, generally a smart cookie who knows the political landscape. Although I do want to add this caveat that the political landscape is not what it used to be. I think people who cut their teeth in normal times don't always appreciate how volatile the electorate is now, and disinclined to do what has been done in the past. I think that this is possibly correct. But anyway, here's what he said. This is part of an interview he did. I heard part of this myself. He says, we have candidates on the debate stage talking about open borders and decriminalizing illegal immigration. They're talking about doing away with nuclear energy and fracking. You've got Bernie Sanders talking about letting criminals and terrorists vote from jail cells. It doesn't matter what you think about any of that or if there are good arguments to them. Talking about that is not how you win a national election. It's not how you become a majoritarian party. The Republicans have destroyed their party and turned it into a personality cult. But if anyone thinks they can't win, they're out of their damn minds. And he goes on. Sanders might get 280 electoral votes and win the presidency, and maybe we keep the House. But there's no chance in hell we'll ever win the Senate with Sanders at the top of the party defining it for the public. 18, and this is, you got to remember this, 18% of the country elects more than half of the Senate. Makes the Electoral College look like a good idea. Do you believe that? That is the case.
No.
18% of the electorate votes and gets 50% of the Senate.
Well, but it makes sense. I mean, if everybody is concentrated in a minority of states along the coast, and all of those states in, please God, I hate this term, flyover country, all of us who have no minds, mean nothing to anybody, are of no account, actually control the vote.
Well, even more than flyover country, because I think that's Midwest, right? I'm talking about all those big square states where...
No, but I mean, I'm talking about
the Buffalo
really expanding it until they just butt up against the coastal large urban areas.
But so nothing happens if we get a Democratic president, but we don't take the Senate. Nothing happens. Mitch McConnell stays, right where he is, in control, assuming he wins his Senate race, because he's running this time. And the 18% that gets to vote for 50% of the Senate are disinclined, I would think, to be enamored of a Democratic Party that has a socialist at the lead. I am just stating what I think are electoral facts here, as opposed to aspiration. You know, you might want Bernie Sanders. You might think we have to have Bernie Sanders. But Carville, and I think he's absolutely right here, says you got him at the top of your ticket, kiss the Senate, goodbye. Goodbye.
Right, and remember how the government works. I mean, if you get Bernie Sanders, it's not like you get Trump, who's going to say, I want this, and then go stomp it all over everybody, thinking he's going to get it, which, by the way, if you notice, he didn't. He hasn't accomplished a whole lot, except for a terrible tax law.
No, what he's accomplished is destroy the federal judiciary for generations to come with him and McConnell. Right. And 4 more years of that, game over. So Carville says, so long, and he says there's no chance we will change the courts if we don't get the Senate. And Bernie will be left in the White House screaming about revolution and everything, and unable to enact his agenda at all. So Then Carville just says this, look, what is the purpose of a political party? It is to acquire power. Without power, nothing matters. And he goes on to say the Democratic Party is the party of African Americans. It is also becoming a party of educated suburbanites, particularly women. It is the party of Latinos. We're a party of immigrants. Most of the people aren't into all this distracting bullshit about open borders and letting prisoners vote. They don't care about that. They have lives to lead. They have kids. They have parents that are sick. That's what we have to talk about. That's what we need to be talking about. And here's another stupid thing. Democrats talking about free college tuition. I'm not here to debate the idea, but what I can tell you is that people all over the country who worked their way through school, sent their kids to school, paid off student loans, they also don't want to hear that shit. Okay, so what he's saying is a lot of what our candidates talk about are not the kind of issues that will get us. We forget how to win. We're great at arguing for great things, winning arguments. Winning arguments is not winning elections. It's a different game.
If everything we know about these candidates is because they're standing on the debate stage, stuck with the questions that are held, sent to them, then it's the media that create the distortion.
Yeah.
How do they get to stay on point if they are only accessible to us through answering questions presented by others? It's the questioners who control the message.
That's right. And the questioners, are from the media who want a certain narrative because they make bucks. And the narratives they want breed contention and want to deal with, things like these more revolutionary ideas being put out there by the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. But it's not the way to get elected. It's not, winning an election, oh God. You don't get, it always amazes me how people vote for somebody because they say, he's going to do this, she's going to do that. Yeah, who says? They say. They ain't going to do shit if they don't have a Senate headed by a Democratic senator.
A House and a Senate that will pass the act.
That's right. And they'll still be in trouble because any revolutionary legislation they might pass, even if they have the Congress, will end up before the conservative Republican Supreme Court, who might deem it unconstitutional. You gotta understand what the game is here. Don't vote for somebody because you think if you vote for Bernie Sanders that everything he says he wants will happen. You need to go back to school. It doesn't work that way.
The most a far left president is going to do is tug a reluctant Congress slightly to the left.
That's always the way.
It's turning around a steamship.
Yeah.
Come on. Trump didn't go in and build his wall and do his, that's not how this works. So it's, you might like everything he has to say. It doesn't mean any of it is going to happen is absolutely correct. Going back, though, to the earlier part of the conversation about it being about the questioner, Mother and I had a guest here this weekend who is a new citizen and a native of Brazil.
Ah,
and
I know of whom you speak. Yes.
Yes, and he is by nature, he is generous and caring, and by politics, much to his partner's consternation, because he's a surgeon he tends toward listening to all the other doctors, and they happen to be Republicans in Green Bay. And so I was tasked with tugging our lovely house guest over to the right side. But he's asking questions like, so how come in Colorado, where they had that great Democrat governor who was running, and they all love him there, and nobody even knew his name or nobody would even listen to him in the rest of the country? How does that work?
Well, he was.
And I said, well, because nobody in the media decided to ask him the question.
Yeah.
If you can't get yourself promoted by the media, then nobody knows your name. And let's just be honest. The reason that the two whitest guys are up there is because those are the people whose names everybody knows.
Yeah. Jeez, but Suze, we got to turn him around.
Well, I did good. He's beginning to. I mean, I think somewhere in there I was standing on a couch saying, "Just understand this. You can't."
Well, in his home country, they've got a Trump. This
Well, no. What the
Bolsonaro.
problem is, and the parties are all aligned differently, so that he doesn't. He's got to get rid of internal biases about just names.
Yeah.
And what they represent.
Hey, here's an interesting story. I think. Go away. What do you mean this has been a Jesus Christ. Okay, sorry. The state of Utah, that would be Mitt Romney's, where Mitt Romney is holed up now.
Fearing for his very life from his party.
Yeah. So,
or from the Trump goons that are going to try and drag him bodily out of the Senate. Go ahead.
The state of Utah passed a law that was, media called it the right to shop law. But what it is, they have a list of about a dozen medications that are so pricey, and officials have created a way for people to travel to Mexico. This is a state. Wait, let me get this right. It's so mind-blowing. They talk about a woman who's 62 years old who had to go get a passport so she could take part in this new program, state program, in which she travels every few months to Tijuana to buy the medication she needs for her rheumatoid arthritis. Her airplane tickets, are paid for by the state of Utah. And it's public insurer. So this is a program just for
because it's cheaper for their
state workers. They don't want to
state
pay.
as
She's
the
a teacher.
insurer.
Yeah. She is insured by a state program that insures public employees. And they, as a cost-saving measure themselves, it is cheaper for the state of Utah to give airplane tickets to people to fly to Mexico and get certain drugs. This program is the first of its kind, and it's just one of the things that the states are doing to alleviate the disaster of high-cost prescription drugs. But they set this thing up, and she has this exhausting day where it says she flies from Salt Lake City to San Diego, and at the San Diego airport, an escort picks her up, drives her across the border to a Tijuana hospital, where she gets a refill on her prescription. And then she is shuttled back to the San Diego airport and flown back to Salt Lake City. And she does that every 2 months. And the state pays.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Isn't
I was going to say they should have a delivery service. But anyway. Yeah, I can believe it, and you know, you would think that would be something that we could actually get our Congress to work with. You know, here's how you understand now the importance of lobbyists, for example. And why, in God's name, wouldn't our senators and representatives stop this nonsense with prescription drugs and, you know, start regulating how much things can cost? The fact that you would have a cure for type 1 diabetes in the form of insulin, or at least a good management tool in the form of insulin, and then allow drug companies to make it so expensive that you can't afford a life-saving medication for an increasing number of people. It's beyond me. How can this not be something that Congress just goes, well, no, this can't be? Corporations aren't allowed to decide who lives and dies. Yet again, in yet another manner. Yeah. In yet another math problem.
What a country. Here, somebody sent me this. There's a county in Kansas that is putting people in jail because they haven't paid medical bills. They're jailing them. That is a flat out.
I saw that one.
Flat out debtor's prison. Flat out debtor's prison. Unbelievable. Wow. How the hell can that be? Jesus. I got to tell you. Unbelievable. Also,
well, it's just right where we started with innocent people who can't afford bail, or people presumed innocent who can't produce bails, being jailed, in anticipation of a court proceeding.
Yeah.
That, may or may not happen, as you pointed out.
Yeah.
So did you see the thing about the ad that didn't make it on the Oscars about postpartum, the reality of women postpartumly?
No, I saw a headline, and tell us, first of all, what was it about a drug?
No. I think it's about a line of feminine products to be used postpartum that deal with all of the
unpleasantness of
the awful aftermath of birth that is not talked about, is not recognized, and that in this country we're all supposed to, we wake up shocked when you have a baby and you still look 5 months pregnant. No one bothered to tell you about that part. Still, because we got princesses coming out looking great, and 36 minutes after they had a baby in full makeup and hair, and there's just I remember. Well, okay, so they ran an ad showing it rather graphically how painful it was for this poor woman to get up and try and go to the bathroom and sit down, and it was all judged far too graphic for television. And the article that I'm reading was a complaint about that. It would be a public service to let women know that they aren't broken or defective because they're normal. This is, again, another way we do this to women. So it reminded me of when I first gave birth, and I remember vividly telling my husband, I'm writing a book. And he said, what? And I said, well, it's got to be something, everything you need to know about what it's like to become a mother, as opposed to what they tell you it's like. Because you constantly come up short according to the rules written by I don't know whom. But my prime example at the moment was when I was handed my son, who was an easy birth, and I looked at him and I thought it was sort of interesting, but all I felt like saying was, how do you do? I didn't have an overwhelming, immediate maternal wash over me. I had to get to know this little person, which happened pretty quickly, I will say. But it wasn't immediate. And I know I'm not alone in this. There are plenty of women that do it according to the book.
But did you
There are
wait? But
plenty
did
of
you
women-
think? I mean, are you when you didn't have this maternal wash come over you, as you said? Did you think there was something
I thought
wrong
there was
with
something wrong with me. I thought that there was, that I was a cold, unfeeling bitch. What's wrong with me?
you? Yeah. Has he forgiven you?
Well, it didn't take long for me to feel that way, but it was an ongoing, very conscious process. I'll tell you what did the trick. It's one of my favorite stories. He was about 3 months old, and I was quite fond of him by then.
I should hope so. I was even fond of him.
But there was this teeny little, rather perfect, beautiful woman that had a crush on my husband, and that from the moment that I was pregnant, started knocking on our door at 5 a.m. to go running with him in her pert little shorts. And he went running with him, and he went running with her. And I fast forward, I give birth. She's still showing up, picking him up in the cute little white shirt and little shorts. And as I am increasingly glowering at my husband, and I'm asleep when they go running. They come back. I am awake in a robe, looking like a new mother would look. And I said, "Oh, come meet the baby." She said, "I already sneaked in and saw him while you were a lump in the bed." And I thought to myself, I really hate this woman. And I thought, but now he's awake. Let me go get him for you. And I went to get him, and I handed him to her.
And
he
threw
had
up.
the perfect little breast milk poop right down her white T-shirt. And in that moment, I fell head over heels.
In love. Okay. That's a typical you story. Okay. Got it. We have a caller. We have a caller. It's probably not about babies pooping on white T-shirts. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Is that me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm in a totally different mode after I was hearing about the baby story.
That's okay. Go back to where you were.
Go back to like frustration and anger or something.
Okay.
I just wanted to say very calmly that, hearing talk of Amy Klobuchar and how Bernie can't possibly win, this partly reminds me that we're all falling in line, okay? Because Bernie represents, and I'm not advocating for him right now, right? I've given money to one candidate so far, and it wasn't Bernie. But he represents real change, the real change that we need. I was so upset when I saw Carville back on TV. To me, Carville, it's like, get out of here. Like, to me, Carville is like the Ed Rendell, right? I mean, Amy Klobuchar is almost, I think she's okay. I'll vote for her. But is she really the KT McGinty that they want? That's who they want in. That's who the party wants in. And it's very frustrating to hear that. I think we're sort of at that point. I said I want a button now, and the only thing I'm focusing on is blue no matter who.
Yeah.
All I'm talking to people about is getting people registered.
Right.
I'm not playing this game. I'm not letting people pit me against others. We have to stay, organized. And the little things we can do is talk to young people about getting registered, about how important it is to vote, about how important it is to make sure their friends get out on that Tuesday, right, in November, and focus there.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. You're not.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you're not going to get it. Yeah, okay.
It frustrates me, but I would really rather not see Carville out there. It's
I hear you. I hear you. That's why I had that. That's why I had that caveat that, these guys who were brilliant back then about politics, I don't know that they're reading the room right now. You know what I mean? That's all.
I think they're reading the lobbying room. We know who, And then your second story, that story. I mean, it shows how far we are down the rabbit hole. This whole Utah story and the drugs sending people to. I mean, it's unthinkable that that's where we're at.
Yeah,
Yet,
it's amazing.
That's going on in lobbying rooms. And I just see when they bring out people like this, it's like, I don't know. It's frustrating. That's where we're at. I'm not dissing anybody. All I know is that I want to make sure people are energized and just to get out and vote.
Well, keeping that energy up is the biggest thing. And as I would suggest, media try to suck it out of all of us.
Yep.
So it might be to just, you got to turn off the crap. You just got to stop listening to them.
And that's my other advice to everybody is just don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Turn it off, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know what we have to do in November. So don't let them play with us in the meantime.
Totally
right,
with
and
you.
I'd like to stress what you said, which is you don't know how much you are being played with. You have no idea how much that this discord within the party is deliberate, a deliberate work being done to produce just that.
Exactly.
Just remember what we've all got to do. It's just one thing, and we both know what it is.
And remember that
and I'm
right
feeling
now,
somewhat encouraged because independents, quotes around that I've talked to who did vote for Trump, they're not going to next time. So I'm just, I do remain hopeful. I'm not going to let anybody, drag us down, and I think there are forces that would like that, for people to be disillusioned. I think there are real signs of hope because we all know there are more of us than them, more registered Dems than Republicans, and those independents that really helped turn the tide, they realized they made a mistake. And I'm really glad a lot of them are now admitting it. So that's what's going to help us over the line.
But it's also true we have to offer a candidate that those independents will get behind. We do. Because some
rational ones know it's like anybody.
All right. Well,
anybody but Trump, right?
Yeah.
So
I also want to say that
no, you don't.
Wait,
what we have to do is our cry has to be save our country.
Yeah.
I also want to say that when
country.
you talk about us being, played, we are being played constantly. And let us remember, it's not just media. It's the Russians. And the bots sowing discord within the Democratic Party. It worked brilliantly for them last time around, sowing that unbelievable ugliness at times between Sanders supporters and Hillary supporters. We gotta stop playing into that, buying into it.
And the candidates would do well to also stay out of it. And I only read one line. But, I'd vote for Klobuchar if she was there, but she did make the headline that some people booed her at some rally, and she said, "Oh, hello, Bernie people," which, you know what, that's wagging your finger, and it's like, how does she know exactly who booed? So, and that can turn off people that I worry when they sort of try to demonize, and I just really hope they don't go there.
Okay.
So,
Great call. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, ladies.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I have
what I'm saying is the electorate has to be the grown-ups in the room. They're going to go there. We just have to remember the one rule, Just vote for whoever comes out on top. That's it. Okay, yes.
Trump was, I saw this last night. I just wanted to get this out a little bit more, just in case you hadn't seen it, that Trump is now suggesting that we follow the Chinese way of criminal justice as as it regards. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once, and I'm not good at it. Okay, Trump has actually suggested that he'd like to model American criminal law regarding drugs on China. And here is a direct quote from the President of the United States. "Countries with a powerful death penalty, with a fair but quick trial, They have very little, if any, drug problem. That includes China. The Chinese, yeah, I'm sure it's a real fair trial. They convict you and they kill you. It's that quick. And that's what Donald Trump.
And recidivism goes way down when that's how you deal with things.
As Susan said sarcastically. Okay, now I have a little pet peeve I got to do before we lose our time. Susan and I both have dogs. We both walk our dogs. I walk my dog at night sometimes. And, I love actually walking at night because it's so quiet. And I love quiet. And there are homes that when the dog and I walk by the home,
their big lights go on.
Yeah. A motion detector light. Bang! All of a sudden. And it's like, I always feel like some friggin' criminal.
Like you're supposed to go up against the wall.
I know. No, it is really unsettling. And I really find it angering. I mean, how dare you do this to me? I jump. I mean, do people understand? I understand maybe if you were living in suburbia where if someone were approaching your home with its vast lawn, you would want a light to go on to let them know that, hey, we're aware here. But in a city where people are simply walking on the sidewalk by your house, to end up like a deer in the headlights, literally, like you feel immediately criminalized. And I wish people would is there a way to dial those things down a little bit?
What do you think it's like living next door to someone whose lights keep doing that? See, that's what I think. I think two things. I think, one, you must not be home because that would drive you crazy. So that's a stupid thing to do. And two, your neighbors must hate you.
Yeah.
Because it's like having a neon sign shining off and on in your windows periodically, continuously, all night.
Yeah. Anyway.
A squirrel can set those things off.
Yeah, I would just like to say I would like to take a quiet walk with my dog at night without, right. It's like all of a sudden Klieg lights. It's like, it reminds you of all those, stories like, you're grabbed by the police and stuck in a room and lights stuck on you, confess. It's an awful thing. And it is startling too. I mean, I'm ready now. I know which houses it happens. I try to give them a wide berth. But I don't know. It would make more sense, would it not, to have a light on all the time, not one that just pops on. Would that make more sense?
I would think so. I don't know. I just as a neighbor, I don't know. I just think they're very distracting.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of that, I must say, in Chicago where I am, because there's street lights, and that's that.
Well, we've got some street lights too. We have street lights. Not as many sometimes as you want, but geez, guys, can everybody relax a little bit here? Pete. Okay. Anyway, now that everybody has their Ring doorbells and can take pictures of everybody, then let's just leave it alone. I hate those things, by the way. I understand they're helpful to some people, but we're becoming a total willing surveillance state. In order for that to work, it requires all of us to, have cameras on our houses, noting everybody's comings and goings. And so you become part of this huge matrix of surveillance. And I personally don't want to be. Lots of luck to me. All right, that's it. Susan?
Yes, I'm sorry about sending you such a nasty text at 11 o'clock.
It was midnight. And I have now turned off all my notification sounds. But if I hadn't, that would have awakened me. Right? Did you? Okay, so don't do that. I'm trying. I don't have to. I don't have to remind you, right? That's what I was just trying to see. See, I don't. Right?
No, that's why I did that.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Sue. Thank you. All right.
Okay, you too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. And I guess that's it. It's snowing. Was it supposed to snow? Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. And Ryan Dieter will join us in the second half, as has become habit. And you have a nice day.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.